mean, Trump is waging a covert, if not an overt, asymmetric conflict against China. That's what I believe is really happening.
As you said, but Alex, don't forget that you said the Chinese envoy was in Venezuela the day before the attack. I'm just checking now, exactly the day before, hours before the US missile struck Venezuela. So not just the day before, could have been the same day, hours before the missile struck the country, and Maduro was taken out, was kidnapped. And they were discussing bilateral ties, but there's been reports that the talks are about safeguarding Chinese interests amid rising US pressure. So this is seeming more and more about, because Maduro could give access to the US to the Venezuelan oil, but if China has investments in the region, Maduro can't just kick China out.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Maybe to be able to get China out of Venezuela, and China's got their paws everywhere in the country, Venezuela's heavily indebted to China. I think they've defaulted on a debt to China not long ago. I could be wrong on that, so fact check me. It makes the military operation, from a practical perspective when it comes to US interests, make a bit more sense, because you've got to, it takes more than just voluntarily having a leader step down to kick another country and their investments out of a country completely. China's in investments in Venezuela. We've got
China's gone. China's gone now. If Trump gets his leader in place in Venezuela, it could be the defense minister too. They may talk to the defense minister and they may say, "Look, we want a smooth transition now that we got Maduro." And the defense minister may fold. I don't know. Maybe he may resist. I don't know this guy, but China's out of Venezuela now. This is a big defeat for, if everything is as is being reported. We have to wait and see. But if everything is as is being reported, then China's gone from Venezuela.
Well, we've talked about what happens to Maduro. Mike Lee put out a post, just got off the phone with Secretary of State Marco Rubio. He informed me that Nicolas Maduro has been arrested by US personnel to stand trial on criminal charges in the United States. Yeah. And that the kinetic action we saw tonight was deployed to protect and defend those executing the arrest warrant. This action, so we're seeing how it's being portrayed to the world. This action likely falls within the president's inherent authority under Article 2 of the Constitution to protect US personnel from an actual or imminent attack. So the way this is being framed is that US personnel are executing an arrest warrant against Maduro, and that the military strike was made to protect those personnel to be able to arrest the alleged criminal. That's how they're portraying it.
A very successful covert operation. Very successful. Let's not forget Pam Bondi putting out that bizarre video about 3 months ago where she said there's going to be a 50 million bounty on Maduro's head for being the leader of a drug cartel. Remember that? $50 million for the capture of Maduro. This was all put in place many, many months ago. The last piece of the puzzle was getting, in my opinion, the right parts of the military to stand down in Venezuela, so that this operation could unfold in the speed that it did, without any resistance from the Venezuelan military or the air defense. And it looks like they accomplished that goal. They got certain parts to turn away from their support of Maduro.
One of the theories is that Maduro did this in conjunction with the US. So we've got Sky News journalist David Rhodes. He claimed that, quote, members of the Venezuelan opposition contacted Maduro's parent news organization, telling it that the opposition leaders said that Maduro accepted a surrender deal from the US. So essentially, they're saying that Maduro was not taken against his will. Now, there's another theory people are talking about. This is that this was all done in coordination with Maduro. But the reason that the strike were carried out is to really obfuscate the fact that if he accepts to leave the country and accepts an amnesty from the US, that would be seen as betrayal from Venezuelan. So the way he coordinated it with the US is that, hey, you strike these targets, limited casualties on the Venezuelan side, which I find it hard to believe when the defense minister was in one of the premises that was targeted, and then you can come and capture me. For me, that sounds a bit far-fetched, but would love to get your thoughts on it.
Well, he's getting arrested. He's going to get arrested and put on trial, according to the statement from Rubio. So why would he agree to that? I mean, maybe this is true, but to me, it sounds very, very complicated. Maduro could have left at any time. He would have received amnesty from Russia or from China. I mean, they may have not been happy to grant, Maduro amnesty, but they would have granted him amnesty if he really wanted it. If he really wanted to leave the country, Maduro could have left the country.
Yeah. And I find this theory a bit hard to believe as well, because remember the defense minister survived a strike on the headquarters. So for them to strike the headquarters, the defense headquarters, where the defense minister was present, he's now the de facto leader, according to reports. It just makes that theory that this was done in coordination between Maduro and the US, just a bit hard to believe.
Rubio's post pretty much debunks that theory by saying that Maduro is going to stand trial in the United States.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that pretty much means that they're going to trot him around and make an example of him.
Exactly.
Yeah, like they did Saddam. Exactly like they did to Saddam. I mean, I'm not going to say they're going to execute him like they executed Saddam, but who knows? Maybe they get their people in power in Venezuela, and they send him back to Venezuela, and then the new Venezuelan government does to him what they did to Saddam. I mean, that's also possible. We don't know how all of this is going to play out, but for Rubio to put out that post and say that he's going to stand trial, he's been arrested, he's going to stand trial. I mean, you can't come back in a week's time and then say, you know what, we let Maduro go to China. I mean, you can't say that. He's in custody in the U.S.
You know what's crazy is that the vice president is saying that they cannot locate Maduro and there's no proof of life either. So the vice president is asking for proof of life from the US for their leader. It's just crazy to wake up to that news. It's an insane world that we live in.
Yeah, I mean, it was, once again, I didn't expect this outcome, but, it falls very much in line with the Trump administration's foreign policy. I've been saying for the better part of a year since Trump came into power, since he was elected, it is a foreign policy based on trickery. Good or bad, in the U.S.'s interest or not in the U.S.'s interest, in the interest of the globalists, in the interest of whoever, whatever you want to call it, the policy that Trump is instituting in the United States, their foreign policy is one based on trickery. Trickery, whether it's Russia.
Would you say trickery or unpredictability? Trickery or unpredictability?
Trickery. They trick people. They're tricking everybody. They're tricking us. They're tricking me. They're tricking you. They're tricking everybody.